Hi everybody, today's title is Take One Giant Leap in Your Family.
All right, taking one giant leap in your family. What does that mean? Well, let me define that. It means do something scary, something big. All right, too many, I'll be the first to admit it. I started a business when the boys were a little older, and the business did very well. And then I got deployed, and we had basically what ended up being a catastrophic failure in the business that I was unable to plan for. I had planned for everything. I hadn't planned for this.
Yeah.
It was a really odd, I'm not going to go into it, but it was a really odd and unusual problem to have. And we ended up having to sell the business. And I took a pretty big hit. My confidence took a hit. Everything took a hit. And so, I've really scrambled since then to try and get something else going. My point is I wish I had taken that leap when my boys were young. I mean, really young. I wish, because one of the boys, well, a couple of them, but primarily one of the boys was able to take that journey with me, and it made a tremendous difference in where he was at as a teenager, okay? But I wish that I had taken that leap earlier on. Now, when I'm talking about something scary, I'm not just talking business. Although I am saying, if you've got something business-wise you want to get into, it's okay, get into it. I was scared to death before I did that it was going to negatively affect my family. Okay, so
Before you did what?
Before I made the decision to actually go full-time with that business. Or even starting that business, I was scared, And I was afraid, what if my family has to suffer for what I did? Now, at the time, I get it. That's what I was thinking. Now that I'm past that, all right, even with a failed business.
Failed?
That one, well.
It didn't fail.
I had to sell it, and that's a whole other story. Anyway, so
smack you.
We're men, all right? It failed. So
it did not fail.
We sold it about 10 years earlier than it would needed to be sold.
That's not a failure.
Anyway.
Don't listen to him.
So.
Listen to him, but don't listen to him on that.
So, the whole point of the matter is let me back up. I was scared. I felt it failed, but I still wish I had started doing stuff like that in the beginning. I knew one father, for instance, who was a climber, rock climber, all right? And he told me that when he had kids, he had to stop rock climbing. Why? Why did he have to stop rock climbing? Why didn't I start businesses when my kids were younger? It's okay for your kids to see you struggle. It's okay for them to go through the trenches with you. Would you rather, if you were a climber and decided to stop, would you rather some knucklehead from the stinking climbing gym taught your kid how to climb when he found out dad did and he wanted to see what it was all about? Or would you rather teach your son or your daughter yourself because you know what it is you want to teach them? You're looking at the guy while he's teaching your kid up on the rocks, and you're just like, oh, I can just see guys. Oh my God, what is he doing? You could have taught him, but you stepped out. And now that they've stepped into that dangerous realm, what are you going to do?
You've really given your authority to other people, and that can be very dangerous because as you start to have preteens and teens, a lot of people are going to want to grab onto your kids and bring them along their journey. Yeah. And that's not always good. We had 2 times, just 2, where people did that and it turned out very negatively.
Yeah.
With 2 of our boys. So
yeah.
We highly, highly suggest that you always be the one to teach your kids. Now, you're not going to know everything that your kids want to do, but if you do pay someone or have someone else teach them, make sure you go on that journey with them.
Yeah. So ultimately, we're still on number 1. Do something scary. It's okay. The family needs to do it. The family needs to see it. The family needs to feel it. The family needs to see mom and dad struggle, and they need to understand that it's okay because, well, we'll cover that in number 2 here in a second. Go ahead.
And so much unity comes from the struggle of the family, especially when mom and dad are being honest with where things are at. Sometimes that's a little scary. Sometimes, obviously it has to be age appropriate, but it's good for kids to know that this is why we can't afford those brand new fill in the blank, right? Yeah. It's okay. It's good for them.
So going into number 2, don't focus on the distraction. All right. So yes, we're shooting this during coronavirus time. All right. Most everybody we know is quarantined or self-quarantining. I'm a plumber by trade. My days haven't changed at all, but I see a lot of people who are. I'm in a lot of houses right now where people are self-quarantining, and that's when they realize they have problems. But don't focus on the distraction. I got news for you. Coronavirus is a distraction. Okay, and you're like, no, Mike, no. I'm telling you, it's distracting you away from the things that you want. Well, what's my future look like? What? All because of COVID. Don't focus on the distraction. Focus on the desired outcome. Had I focused on the desired outcome properly with my business, I wouldn't have had to sell it. I may not have been able to still forecast the problems, but I would have had a plan in place that would have circumvented that problem. But I wasn't focused enough I was too focused on the distraction at the time, and I allowed it to bring things down to where I didn't want it to go. So with the coronavirus, for instance, don't focus on the coronavirus. Focus instead on what number 3 is, and that's that it's okay to be uncomfortable, because that's where you're going to start to really need to be focused on what your desired outcome is, on what you want, what are the positives that you can get out of this.
Well, and there are going to be a lot of positives that come from this, the coronavirus situation. A lot of people are starting to realize I can work from home. A lot of people are starting to realize I do like my kids. I do want to know them better. I mean, and there are so many that I personally see just in this first couple of weeks of these issues here in the United States. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm not happy about the people that are suffering. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is I am looking forward to the positives that come from this, because really, let's be honest, we grow more in the tough times than we do in the easy times.
Yeah. You know, keep in mind too, all right, so there's a lot of you freaking out about this coronavirus. Am I saying it's a big deal or not a big deal? No, I'm not actually giving you my opinion on that, right? No. What I am saying is this, that I've seen parents that are like, I don't know if I'm going to send my kids back to school. I enjoy schooling them myself. Yeah. You know, I've seen other people that are like, you know what? I really needed to knuckle down and figure out how to save some money in an emergency fund type sense. And I think you're really going to see a huge uptick in that, which is a huge positive. So if anything like this happens again, we don't have to focus on the what ifs with, well, Mike, what about all the people that are going to be out of wages? What about the people that live paycheck to paycheck? What about the, those are distractions.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what's the goal? The goal is what is my desired outcome? My desired outcome is to not be in this position again. My desired outcome is to start this business or work from home or work with my kids or be more involved or have my family more together or take more time as a family or appreciate the family that I can now not go see.
Yeah.
See, all of these things are desired outcomes. What is your desired outcome? And understand, as a family, it's okay to be uncomfortable to get there, because now you're uncomfortable. Now something's happened you can't control, and it's going to get way uncomfortable for some of you, but you will come out on the other end. And as a side note, if anybody ever needs help with that, we are also available for that. If you can't figure out what to do with your budget, if you can't just ask. Just ask.
Well, and in the comments below, we are going to link, at our church, Mike did a whole, how many weeks was it? 9 or 10?
It was a 9-week class. It was a 9-week class on budget and finance. It was a very different take, okay? And there were some things in those videos now that don't apply, that applied that day, but not to today. But the general principles are still good.
Right, and we're going to link those down below, because we really want to help you in this season of looking and asking more questions, which I think a lot of Americans could do a much better job on. You don't have all your answers. We didn't have all of our answers, still don't today, but we've got a lot more as we've learned and grown and things like that. So we're going to link those down below. Feel free to listen to them, and you know, if you're not a churchgoer, that's totally fine. These still are going to apply to you, because there's some amazing principles in the videos themselves. And another thing that I wanted to say about when Mike was saying the business was a failure is the fact that the business came at a time when our middle son was really struggling with some stuff. And I really truly believe that if Mike wouldn't have been able to spend that time with him one-on-one, it would have been a lot different. And so a lot of blessings came from that business. He didn't fail because he made an impact on a lot of different areas that he didn't even realize that he had. And so I disagree with him on the failure part. But anyways, got anything else?
Nope.
Okay. So we are very thankful that you're here with us. We hope that you understand what we're trying to get across to you. We're only trying to encourage and uplift you to take that next step. Take the step that's been scary and hard in this time of uncertainty. It's easy to get distracted. It's easy to be on the negative side of things, but there's going to be so many blessings. You just have to look for them and change your focus. So we want to encourage you in any way that we can. If you've got a specific area that you need help in, you'd like a video on, go ahead and comment below and we will get to that as soon as we can. All right, well, that's all for today. We thank you so much for being here and we will talk to you again soon. Bye.